Hello and welcome to another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the show. In each episode, we take a look at a movie that is featured on Disney+. On this episode, we're taking a look at the Disney Plus original documentary, Marvel Behind the Mask. And stay tuned for our bonus story as we take a look at the history of the Kids of the Kingdom. And if you are enjoying these episodes, these videos, I do ask that you please hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be notified with each new episode. Now, sit back and enjoy this episode of Disney Movie Investigation. So like I said, today we are covering Marvel Behind the Mask. This movie was released on February 12th, 2021. It was directed by Marc Jacobs. The production companies were Marvel New Media and Timac Creative, and it was distributed on Disney+. In terms of the production, the movie was announced in January of 2021 as a documentary special for Disney+. The documentary would focus on the power of identity among Marvel's most popular characters. However, the original concept of this had changed. Originally, this movie was to promote the history of Marvel's Black Panther in anticipation of the Black Panther being released back in 2018. When the research was being done for the documentary, the creative team realized when it came to Marvel's efforts to break new territory in terms of race, sexuality, and gender, the topic was more extensive than to just look at one character. Marvel was very supportive when the filmmakers said not to look only at the positives, but also at the negatives of the company's representation history. Marvel were complete partners and gave the filmmakers full access to their extensive history. The group Mondo Boys would actually compose the score to the film as well. So in terms of what the documentary is about, we are introduced to the writers and artists behind characters such as the Black Panther, Miles Morales, Miss Marvel, Luke Cage, the X-Men, Captain Marvel, as well as many other characters in the Marvel Universe, highlighting their impact on pop culture and media in terms of race, sexuality, and gender. There's not a lot of trivia for this movie. It is a documentary that was released for Disney+. In terms of recommending this movie, I think the movie is okay. It does a great job of using visual history throughout Marvel's extensive history. However, I find that the documentary makes the same point over and over and over again, and it just uses different buzzwords to help emphasize their point. So they use great visual history in terms of the history of Luke Cage and Black Panther, as well as the history of different women featured in Marvel's comics. However, it is the same point over and over again of saying we were bad and now look what we've done to change that. So I think this movie just clocks in at over an hour, but it does feel like a drag to get through at some points. I almost wish they would have gone more in depth into their history as opposed to just taking a look at like two or three of the characters. It just seems like they really were only focusing on a select group. So in terms of our bonus story, we're going to take a look at the Kids of the Kingdom. This was a group of energetic kids that were assembled to perform at Disneyland in the late 60s. The kids composed of college-aged singers and dancers, and they would perform on the Tomorrowland Square along with special events throughout the Magic Kingdom. The costumes would be colorful outfits to display the kids' energy while they sang upbeat choreographed dance numbers and versions of Disney classics, along with several of mix of pop tunes and show tunes. They would eventually release an album called The Young Singing Stars of Disneyland on Vista Records, and the cover of the album actually featured 14 performers holding Mickey-shaped balloons smiling in front of Sleeping Beauty Castle. They would also be featured on an episode of The Wonderful World of Disney called Disney Showtime. Along with Kurt Russell and the Dapper Dans and the Osmond Brothers, they would actually be featured on a television special of the opening of the Haunted Mansion. So during the 80s, the kids would actually perform in a musical show called Disneyland Is Your Land, and a new stage space was actually built for them. They would eventually transition to Florida's Magic Kingdom in 1986. However, this was the beginning of the end because the group would actually reach their end by 1986. So there is several Disney specials that are on Disney Plus that you can see these act, as well as the album, The Singing Stars of Disneyland, is currently available on iTunes. So thank you so much for joining us here on another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. I would love for anyone to leave a comment below on what they think of Marvel's Behind the Mask, as well as if you ever got a chance to see or listen to the album. I would love to hear your response to, or what your favorite memories are of the Kids of the Kingdom. So as we look forward to our next episode, we are going to be taking a look at a cult classic starring Kurt Russell as we take a look at Big Trouble in Little China. So until next time, I hope you have a magical day, and we will see you real soon.